To master a science, we begin with the story of the mind that created it. Likewise, let us begin to understand homeopathy by knowing our master Samuel Hahnemann's life history. Hello everyone, welcome to Similia Cosmos. In this video series, let us go through the meaningful journey of our master Samuel Hahnemann, the founder of homeopathy. This topic will be covered in four videos, in four parts. So the topics under which, or the headings under which the topic will be covered will be the childhood or early days of Hahnemann's life, his medical education, the discovery of homeopathy, and his later years, that is the homeopathic practice, and also his last years. So along with this, in the last part of the video series, we will be including the CBDC understanding of this topic with the competency table, and also the MCQ questions, which will be helpful for both first years who will be attempting the CBDC curriculum exams, and also for the AIPGT or any other competitive exam aspirants. So this is the competency table for a UG student, which is given by the NCH, and this part we will be taking it up in the last part of this video series. Let us begin with the ancestors of Hahnemann. So we start with Christian Hahnemann and Christoph Hahnemann. There were two brothers, Christian Hahnemann and Christoph Hahnemann. And Christoph Hahnemann had 7 children. Among that, there were 3 sons and 4 daughters. And among the 3 sons, the second son, that is the 5th child of Christoph Hahnemann, was Christian Gottfried Hahnemann. And Christian Gottfried Hahnemann married first time, and the first wife died while giving birth to twins, and among which the one was stillborn and the other survived. And his second wife was Johanna Christiana Spies. And then they had 4 children, and that is Charlotte Hahnemann, Augustus Hahnemann, and Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, the third child, and Benjamina Hahnemann. Okay, so Samuel Hahnemann is the third child of Christian Gottfried Hahnemann and his second wife Johanna Christiana Spies. And our Hahnemann's full name is Christian Friedrich Samuel Hahnemann. A very favorite question of any Viva examiner. So it is Christian Friedrich Samuel Hahnemann, and also we have to know our master's full name, right? So CFS Hahnemann, or you can remember it as CFSH. So Christian Friedrich Samuel Hahnemann. And then coming to Hahnemann's early days. So Hahnemann was born on 10th April 1755. So all of you are aware that we celebrate it as World Homeopathy Day, celebrating his birth. So place of birth is Meissen, Saxony in Germany. And father is Christian Gottfried Hahnemann. Occupation is porcelain painter, and mother is Johanna Christiana Spies. And what Hahnemann has to say about his place of birth, or about his place, it is, I was born in Meissen in the electorate of Saxony. This may have contributed largely to my veneration. Veneration means respect for the beauties of nature as I grew up to manhood. So this is what he wants to tell about his place, that is, he respected the nature. So he grew up in a place where nature was abundant. So this was Hahnemann's words by himself. So this is Meissen. So what was father's role in Hahnemann's life? So what was father's teaching? Because it is very important to know father's teaching in Hahnemann's life, because somewhere in his life he had applied all these teachings. So according to Hahnemann, father is his moral trainer, and he always told to act and be without ostentation. Ostentation means showing off. So do not be pretentious, and do not show off, and prove all things. Hold fast that which is good. A very important thing where even our homeopathy was discovered because of that proving. So his father told him that prove everything. Do not just blindly believe anything. So you prove, and if it is good, you keep it with yourself. If it is bad, just leave it. And never to learn or listen passively. Always be an active listener and always be an active learner, and never to act contrary to the sublime conception of the first principle of creation. So always be conscious about the first principle of creation, and do not act contrary to that, and of the dignity of mankind. They give importance to the dignity of the mankind, or lofty destiny. Lofty destiny means always have a high goal, high purpose in your life. So these were his father's teaching. Next is the schooling of Hahnemann. So the thing is, even though father's teachings he had applied everywhere, in when it comes to schooling, his father, that is Christian Gottfried Hahnemann, was not ready to send Hahnemann to school, and the main reason was a financial burden. So he was not very well off financially, his father. So he, in the initial days, mother and father taught him. So initially was taught by his parents till 12 years. Till 12 years, Hahnemann did not attend school. So the first time in 12th year, he goes to town school, which is in Mason. Until the age of 16 years, he attends town school. So father was against studies, and mainly the reason was financial difficulties. And so father thought that if Hahnemann was going for any small works, he could earn financially and help the family. But Hahnemann was very sharp and was very keen in studies. So that somewhere did not go according to father. So on many occasions when it was thought he was sound asleep, he was consuming the midnight oil over his books in a lamp which he had himself constructed out of clay. As he was apprehensive, being discovered had he used one of the household candlesticks. So it is told that on many occasions during the night, he was so interested in studies that he used to make a candle out of clay by himself, so that if any candle was used by him from the house, they would get to know that he has used this candle and he had studied. So to avoid that, to avoid the father getting to know that he is studying, what he did was he himself made a candle out of clay and he used to study all night. So this was about town school. And after town school, so he goes to Prince School. And in Prince School, he meets Magister Muller, who is the rector of the Prince School, that is administrator of the Prince School, and who loved Hahnemann like his own child. He was a teacher's pet because he was so interested in studies. So always all the teachers used to like him. And he was a teacher. Magister Muller was teacher for ancient languages and German composition. And Hahnemann, in the 12th year of the school, was allowed to teach rudiments of Greek language to fellow pupils. That is how much he became strong in languages. And he was allowed to absent himself from lessons he thought was unsuitable and was allowed to read foreign books. So Magister Muller was so impressed by Hahnemann, and he was so, trusting Hahnemann, that he was allowed to remain absent for the normal classes, which he thought he already knew. And he was given permission to read other foreign language books. And that is where this translation in Hahnemann's life, major part of his life in his occupation comes translation work. And this translation work, and that also has contributed to our homeopathy somewhere. We will see that in the future. So this translation, how did it come? It is because he got strong with many languages, and that is during the school time, from the school time itself. So this is Prince School, the actual picture. So he was very clear about reading little and grasping whatever read rather than read too much. So we usually, what do we do whenever we have an exam or anything? We just read continuously. Even if we have not understand the previous line, we just continue to read. Hahnemann was not at all like that. And that one quality has somewhere resulted in such a big system of medicine today. So he was always, he reads a line, he understands it. If he doesn't understand, he tries to understand. Only then he will go to the next line. So that was one quality of Hahnemann which was really good. And he wanted to read correctly, classify in the mind, that is, understand properly, and then read further. As father was not happy, teachers refused school fee payment for 8 years. That means from 12 years till 20 years. That means when he was 20 years, till then, for 8 years, they did not take any remuneration, any fee. So basically, Hahnemann studied for free, and that is because he was interested in studies. Teachers observed the Hahnemann's skill and interest in studies, and that is why they told no need to pay the remuneration. If at all they asked for remuneration, they were thinking that what if father stops his studies? So that is why they did not take any remuneration. And then whenever, during those days, whenever a kid has to leave the school, they have to present a essay or a thesis. So Hahnemann, while leaving school, so he presented an essay on the topic, Wonderful Construction of Human Hand. And now this is a hint where we can see that there might be so many other topics and so many other, because he was so good at languages also. But this somewhere will give a clue that he was interested in the field of medicine. Okay, so presented the essay on the topic Wonderful Construction of Human Hand in Prince School before leaving. And then he leaves to Leipzig. So Leipzig he leaves to study medicine. So in 1775 Easter he leaves to Leipzig, and he has only 20 thalers of money, which was the currency post then. So it was the last money he received from his father. After that he started earning his own money. So for 2 years he studied in Leipzig University, and in the daytime he used to attend lectures of medical professors. And there was one person, Bergerath Porner from Meissen, who provided free passes to attend various other lecturers. So what he used to do, he used to attend in the daytime medical lectures, and then after that, post that, he used to go attend various other lectures with the passes, and then he studied privately there. So he used to attend college also, he used to attend other lectures in the after the college hours also. And in the night, what he used to do? So after attending various other lectures, he used to come back, and in the night, what he used to do? He used to translate from English to German, and he taught German and French to a wealthy young Greek from Jassy in Moldavia, and he earned money by doing this. So he started his translation work, and he also taught languages to people and left Leipzig. So after studying medicine, he left Leipzig as he thought the practice of medicine did not have any scope in Leipzig. So he moves to Vienna, and in the spring of 1777 he moves to Vienna. So he was robbed of all the saved money from his translation work and from his teaching of other languages. All the money that he had saved, it was robbed, and he was left with a very little money, which was a small sum of 68 florins and 12 kreuzer. And he worked in hospital conducted by Brothers of Mercy in Vienna. And he worked under, in Vienna, he worked under Dr. von Queren, who allowed him to visit private patients with him, and he did no translation during these years in Vienna. He just concentrated on to acquire the skills of medical practice. So he completely dedicated his time in Vienna in acquiring the skills of principles of medicine. So he worked here in Vienna for 9 months, and then he moves to Hermannstedt. So in Hermannstedt, he comes with the recommendation of Dr. von Queren. So after 9 months in Vienna, Dr. von Queren secured him the position of family physician and librarian to the Baron Samuel von Bruckenthal, who was the governor of Transylvania. So here he works as a family physician to the governor, and also he takes up the in charge of the library of governor. So he acts as a librarian there. So because of being a librarian, he starts to learn a lot of languages, learned several languages, acquired knowledge about collateral science. So this is where he starts to get interest in other science fields other than medicine. So arranged and catalogued ancient coins, arranged and catalogued the library books, and he practiced medicine here for 1 year and 9 months as family physician to the governor. So left at the age of 22 years in the spring of 1779. Now Hahnemann goes to do his post-graduation. So his post-graduation is done in Erlangen University. So he chooses Erlangen University to get his MD degree, and in 1779. So this is the picture of Erlangen University. So he chose Erlangen University due to less fees compared to Leipzig. And the thesis that he defended for his MD was a consideration of etiology and therapeutics of spasmodic affections, which means painful affections. So the degree that was granted for Hahnemann was the Doctor of Medicine. He defended this thesis on the 10th of August 1779, and he published it in Erlangen as a quarto of 20 pages. Quarto is nothing but a page which is divided into four sections. So as a 20 pages quarto, he had published it in Erlangen. So before leaving Erlangen University, he was grateful to certain people, and they were Privy Councillor Delius and Councillors Eisenflam and Schreber and Wendt and Hofrat Schreber, who taught lacking in the botany. So Hahnemann also learned botany when he was in Erlangen University. So from there he goes and he starts his medical practice, that is his private practice as a physician. So he goes to Headstead, and Headstead is a very small town, and why he chooses Headstead is, so it is a small copper mining town, and he started his career as a practicing physician, and he stayed there for 9 months. So what he has to tell about Headstead? So he quotes the following: the instinctive longing of a Swiss for his rugged Alps, that is, a person from Switzerland always, Alps means mountains, searches for mountains if he is stepping out of Switzerland, right? So same way, he tells that cannot be more inaccessible than that of a Saxon for his native soil. So he is from Saxony, and he is always in search of native soil, and that is why he felt that Headstead is similar to his childhood place, and that is why he chose his practice there. And experience after practice, after practicing here in Headstead, what was his experience? He tells that by practicing, having a private practice, it is impossible to develop mentally or physically. So he did not like the practice, and he did not see any progress in his practice. And then he goes to Dessau, and there in the spring of 1781 he moves to Dessau. He stays there for 2 years and 9 months, and he turns his attention towards chemistry. So somewhere from the field of medicine, he also tries to have his attention towards the field of chemistry along with practicing. And the great chemist Berzelius said that, so after he discovered homeopathy, after he started his practice in homeopathy, so Berzelius was a very great chemist back then. So he quotes the following: that man would have made a great chemist had he not turned out a great quack. So for discovering homeopathy, he is criticizing him to be a great quack. So if he hadn't discovered homeopathy, he would have made a great chemist, is what Berzelius says. So that is how much contribution he has done to the field of chemistry. That is how much good Hahnemann was in the field of chemistry. So he developed interest and learned about mining science and also metallurgy, that is the study of metals. So he was a regular visitor of the laboratory of apothecary Hassler. So apothecary Hassler plays an important role in Hahnemann's life. So apothecary means the pharmacist. So the pharmacies during Hahnemann's time, they were called as apothecary. So apothecary Hassler, and he became perfect in practical pharmacy and chemistry after getting acquainted with apothecary Hassler. And also the one more person whom he gets acquainted because of apothecary Hassler is his daughter, that is apothecary Hassler's daughter, Johanna Leopoldine Henrik Kuchler. So this is his wife. So Hahnemann met his future wife in the laboratory of apothecary Hassler, who was his daughter, the apothecary Hassler's daughter, Johanna Leopoldine Henrik Kuchler, and they get married on 17th November of 1781. And what Hahnemann has to tell about his wife. So he tells that he calls his wife as Alice, and this is his quote: 4 daughters and 1 son together with my wife constitute the spice of my life. So together they will have 4 daughters and 1 son, so 5 children. So he tells that all together with wife and children, it is the spice of his life. And after that, they move to Gomen. So after marriage, they move to Gomen, and he starts his practice there, and he's appointed there as medical officer for health. So in the end of 1781, he was appointed as medical officer of health for Gomen near Magdeburg, and he commenced the practice as physician there. So basically, it is like a public health officer. So he was responsible for the place of Gomen, and he also resumed his literary work. And this is somewhere, this is the year where Hahnemann started shifting his focus more on literary work and less on practice. So at the beginning of 1784, eldest child Henrietta was born. So one of the greatest contribution while in Gomen he did was the translation. So Demichi's translation of Art of Manufacturing Chemical Products. So this was a work on chemistry that he translated from French to German. And somewhere here, as I told, the literary work increased, and then the practice reduced. And why? Because the role of physician, if we understand, we'll get to know. So he was practicing as a parish doctor. So after Gomen, he moves to Dresden, and then later he moves to Leipzig. So these are the 2 places he moves then. And then he was practicing as a parish doctor. Parish doctor means as a community health officer. Okay, so he was responsible for the what is public health officer, like a public health doctor. so was greatly dissatisfied with the vague and unsatisfactory medical knowledge of that day. So he started getting dissatisfied with the medical practice, and in a letter to Hoofland, so the letter to a physician of high standing on the great necessity of regeneration in medicine. So this is written to Hoofland. I have put up the wordings of Hahnemann as it is to know and to understand what was Hahnemann's actual feeling about practicing medicine in those days. So he tells that it was an agony for me. Agony means pain for me to walk always in darkness with no other light than that which could be derived from books. When I had to heal the sick and to prescribe according to such or such an hypothesis concerning diseases, substances which owed their place in materia medica to an arbitrary decision. That means all the drugs were just put out of a arbitrary decision. It was not proved properly. It was not based on any experiments. And then he continues to tell, I could not consciously treat the unknown morbid conditions of my suffering brethren. Brethren means brothers, by these unknown medicines, which being very active substances may so easily occasion death or produce new affections and chronic maladies. So he tells these unknown medicines can cause death also, can cause any unknown diseases also, often more difficult to remove than the original disease. And to become thus the murderer, the tormentor of my brethren was to me an idea so frightful and overwhelming that soon after my marriage I renounced the practice of medicine, that I might no longer incur the risk of doing injury, and I engaged exclusively in chemistry and literary occupations. So he tells that he stopped his practice of medicine after marriage, and because of this torturing nature of the practice of medicine, because the medicines were unknown, they were giving death also, and also they were producing some unknown diseases also. So he didn't want to be a murderer, he didn't want to be a tormentor. And then he tells that, but when I became a father, serious diseases threatened my beloved children, my flesh and blood. My scruples redoubled when I saw that I could afford them no certain relief. I feel sure that God must have ordained some certain method of healing the sick. So he tells that God always has some other method of healing the sick, not this torturous method of healing of sick. And that all we know, it is the gentle system which is homeopathy, and the discovery of homeopathy happens then by translation of Cullen's Materia Medica, the treatise of Materia Medica by William Cullen, so in 1790. So he stops his practice, he starts his literary work completely, and during the translation of Cullen's Materia Medica is when our homeopathy was discovered, which will be taken up in the next part. So these are the reference books for UG students and PG students to know about Hahnemann's life and his work. So the book that I would suggest for a UG student is Richard Hale's Samuel Hahnemann Life and Work, and a small part which is given by R.E. Dudgeon in B.K. Sarkar's Organon of Medicine. So this is more than enough for a UG student. PG student, extra book that PG student can refer is The Life and Letters of Samuel Hahnemann, Thomas Lindsley Bradford. So T.L. Bradford, it's a really good book. So these are the books that you can refer to understand Hahnemann's life history. For this video, these are the references that were taken. And we meet you in the next part of the video. If you have not yet subscribed to our channel, do subscribe, do like. If you like this video, do like our video, do share our video. Let it reach maximum number of homeopaths and others who are interested in homeopathy. And don't forget to click that bell icon. Subscribe to our channel, Similia Cosmos. Thank you. See you all in the next video.